go. Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. I gotta be honest with you, that game drove me nuts. I cannot believe the Buccaneers lost that game. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Tough one. Man, that was an absolute laser from the Cougs, wasn't it? What a crazy game. The Bulls are bowl-bound for the third season in a row. An incredible performance. And listen, we know the competition. They did what they had to do. No more silver linings. No more moral victories. It was put up or shut up time. And boy, did they rise to the occasion. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. Happy February 18th, 2026. I tell you what, I hope your afternoon's going a little bit better than the Canadians right now. Wow. Losing Sidney Crosby due to injury. They're down 2-1 to Czechia. We've been hyping this entire thing up for the gold medal game between Canada and U.S., but the other countries are involved too. And we've been saying, oh, wow, how much better U.S. has gotten over the last couple of years and how, hey, man, this is their best shot to be able to go up against the Canadian powerhouse. I guess they tied the game 2-2. Thank you, Benny, for the heads up right there. But let's not leave out everybody else. I mean, look at how many players that represent the Tampa Bay Lightning that are out there. And the U.S. at 3 o'clock today going up against Sweden. That's not going to be very easy as well, especially look at their blue line with Carlson and Forsling and, of course, Victor Hedman. They want to play spoiler as well, just like the Czechs are right now. David Pastrnak gets on the board with a power play goal. He hasn't played his best. He said that he wanted to play better in this round. And, when you chip in with a goal, it's one of the best right-handed shots in the game. It's going to be a hell of a finish. And, again, Sidney Crosby hurt. But if anybody can kind of figure and navigate those waters, it's John Cooper. He knows what it takes. Great show lined up for you today. We got our guy Rick Stroud from the Tampa Bay Times joining us in about 2 minutes. We have Ryan Callahan joining us at 12:30 today, former Lightning, Ranger, and Ottawa Senators. Great. He never suited up for the Senators, but he did get traded there. We got the Ryan Callahan Foundation event coming up in a couple of weeks. I'll be the MC. Cannot wait for that. If you've never checked out the website, go to RyanCallahanFoundation.org. What they do to raise money for families that deal with pediatric cancer, it's on another level. It's not just the kids, it's the families. And when you're stricken with that kind of tragedy, it affects everybody. Parents have to work another job. Your other children in the house are affected by it. And the stories that they tell us about every year, it's probably the main reason why I ended up joining and being on the board there at the Ryan Callahan Foundation, because you just never know. And I used to bust my parents' chops all the time. Didn't you want 4 boys? Shouldn't you stop at 3? And my mom and dad would always tell me, we just wanted you guys to be healthy. And at the time, it seemed trivial and it seemed cliche. But, I mean, when you hear these stories, families that have 4, 5, 6 kids, and one of them is just – they're fighting for their lives on a daily basis. It hits you hard, man. It really does. Erik Erlendsson joins us for his weekly hit at 1 o'clock today. Lightning back in practice today, and Braden Point on the ice, Anthony Cirelli as well. Cirelli with a red no contact jersey, so we'll see if he'll be ready when the Lightning get back in action. The games are going to come fast and furious in the second half of the season. Julien Brisebois said as much at the fireside chat a couple of weeks ago. We'll see what happens. I think it could be a blessing in disguise. If you missed our chat with 2-time Stanley Cup champion Brian Engblom, that's up on the channel. We spoke about this yesterday. Could it be a blessing in disguise that the Lightning had as many of their top stars not in Milan for the Olympics? When you look at Nikita Kucherov and Andrei Vasilevsky, and then unfortunately Braden Point and Anthony Cirelli for a completely different reason, it could be that blessing in disguise that could help this Tampa Bay Lightning team have another long postseason run. It sucks for those guys. I remember just looking at Braden Point and seeing a guy like Anthony Cirelli and how much it meant to them to represent their country, and then have it taken away so late in the process. Your heart goes out to those guys, and you never know. What we've learned throughout history in sports, these high-level athletes, they take every little bit of slight or miscommunication or slight or something that's gone against them, any trials or tribulations and obstacles, and they use that as motivation going forward. So hopefully for our guys, that is what they do. All right, we're going to start the show off with a bang, and we'll do it with a guy that is not only a fantastic writer for the Tampa Bay Times, but also an Arkansas State baseball legend, the one and only Rick Stroud from the Tampa Bay Times. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people that would disagree with that assessment. Thanks. How you doing, Jay?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Plenty to get into, with you today. Man, the Olympics are great. How much of the Olympics have you been watching?
In my house with two girls, it's ice skating or nothing else. So I did see one hockey game, and I was just listening to you there. Man, if we don't get Canada, USA in the final, what's going on? I mean, that's the whole deal, right?
Yeah, it is, and that's the thing. We get into these tournaments, and I guess it's like that in the NFL too, where we think like, oh, this is going to be the primo matchup. But again, who saw Seattle and New England being the last two teams standing in the National Football League, right? First off, Rick, I was talking about you the other day, talking about my gratefulness of working at WDAE, and a lot of changes over there right now. But man, you and Tom Jones and the belief that you guys had in me as a young intern really kind of set me on a path of success here in the Bay Area. So I just wanted to start by thanking you for what you guys did for me, being two reputable names here in the Tampa Bay area. And I always, tell people here on the show when we have Ed Encinon or Romano or Joey Knight, we got to support local here in the Tampa Bay Times. It's so important. You look at what you guys do with your feet on the ground all the time. Topper's down there. He's about to get a residency down in Port Charlotte for the next couple of weeks. But, man, just thank you for all that you do, man. I mean, what's it been like, man, over these years working at the Tampa Bay Times?
It's getting tougher. It's a business not unlike radio, and thanks for all your kind words, but all we did was get ourselves fired over there. So I'm not sure we did that great. But no, I think it's a challenge, and I would say that the business is changing all the time. We're fortunate in a way that we have people that have been there a long time, like myself and Mark Topkin covering the Rays, John Romano, obviously. The three of us are dinosaurs at this point, but with that comes a lot of institutional knowledge. I'm just, I worry about some of the guys and girls that, ladies that are starting the profession now. As much as you support local journalism, I think it's a good idea because, we've kind of blurred the lines, in that field a little bit. When I go to a press box, there's a lot of empty seats. And then there's a lot of seats filled by people that, don't have huge followings. But that's the way it's kind of evolved right now. So there's new media, which is great. I try to do, a podcast of my own on Sports Day Tampa Bay. We do, you got to do everything, as you know now, Jay. And, I think we try to do a good job of that. But, it's ever evolving, but the bottom line is, I think good news stories, number one is what sells. And I think you have to build up, sort of a credibility. And that's what Mark has done with the Rays. And I think Eduardo Encina on the Lightning, and hopefully.
Oh, we lost you. We'll get him back in a second. Damn, he was saying something nice about Ed. So, oh man, we lost him. That's all right. We'll get him back in a second. We'll get him back. He was saying something nice about Ed, and they cut him off. So it's that's perfect. I can't wait. You're good, pal. There we go. We got you back. Yeah, you're good. It's funny. You were saying something nice about Ed, and they kicked you off.
That is what you hit the button as soon as I said Eduardo Encina. That was it.
I can't wait to tell him that on Thursday. That's so great.
That's right.
It's all good. All right, I want to ask you about the Mike Evans stuff. We got to get into this, buddy, because I think this is one of those things, Rick, where he's such a revered guy, and I love what you and Greg and a bunch of people have been putting on social media here recently, kind of going into what we were just talking about. You got to be careful where you get your sources from. And I went on the air a couple weeks ago and I said, if it's not coming from Rick or our guy Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report, Craig Allman, man, I'm waiting. I don't have to be first in this information. I'm waiting for my guys to let me know, what they think of this entire thing. But we're seeing a lot of misinformation. We know his agent Derek Gilmore came out and let us know that he's he will be playing next year. Where do you think Mike is leaning? I've said here on the show a couple weeks ago, if he's not here, I don't think it'd be out of the realm of possibility to go see him play, Houston or Dallas, kid being from Galveston, Texas. I don't know if I necessarily see him going to Buffalo for a swan song. Let's go to Orchard Park in Western New York. Doesn't make too much sense to me. Where do you think Mike is leaning? What does your kind of intuition tell you?
Yeah, I sat down with him at the beginning of last season. We knew this was inevitable. He was going to be a free agent. And we talked about the last time he was a free agent. And he never made it to the stage of actually visiting teams and listening to their full pitches at free agency. And I think this time he wants to hear the pitch. I think he wants to see what the opportunities are, obviously. But, the last time 2 years ago, it was Houston, which is, 50 minutes from his home in Galveston. And then it was also, the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think that can you still hear me, Jay?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm back. You still hear me?
You're good. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I think the last time he did this, he never got to actually visit teams, but it was Houston, his hometown. It was more or less 50 miles away. It was the Kansas City Chiefs, which obviously with Patrick Mahomes. I think that net will expand. Whether that's Buffalo, as you mentioned, or Green Bay or San Francisco, I really don't know. But I know that there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to have an interest in Mike just because of his production. And I think when he got back last year after the broken collarbone, I think he showed a lot of energy and life in his legs. He played really well. He had 130-something yards in that first game against Atlanta. But what Mike has to answer for himself and his wife, Ashley, became a real emotional thing. It was funny. Blair Wright, Jason's wife, and Ashley Evans both kind of at the conclusion that he just said, like, this is wrong. But we saw last year that team was not ready to go to the Super Bowl, and the question is going to be what's important to Mike. I think he's fiercely loyal to his teammates, loves Baker Mayfield. I think he likes Todd Bowles a lot. But is he chasing a ring? Is he chasing money, or a combination of both? And there's going to be teams out there, I think, that will pay him more. How much more, whether that's going to be the tipping point, I don't know. But to me, it's easy to say he should be a Buck for life, right? And we all want him to be. But you went through this with Steven Stamkos. There's some parallels there that and I think with Steven, going all the way to age, 34, making $8 million a year guaranteed, that was maybe a different deal. This will probably be a 2-year deal. You're already paying Godwin over $1 million. You've invested in the receiver position with Emeka Egbuka, with McMillan, obviously, with Ted Johnson. So the cupboard is not bare at that position. So those are all things that both sides have to think about.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. And it's hard to draw those parallels, right? Because if I would have said 2 or 3 years ago that those guys could possibly both not finish their careers in Tampa Bay, people would be like, not a chance. And I'm with you. I mean, he's earned the right? He's earned the right to be able to make that decision. What do you think Jason Licht does in this offseason, Rick? I've said multiple times that I think he's got to kind of go, and I'm not saying, completely change who you are, but I think he has to change his approach a little bit here in the offseason as far as addressing this defense. If you're going to give Todd every resource to be able to kind of, rally the troops and do this for one last year, because it could be his last year as an NFL head coach, I feel like Jason Licht's got to, whether it's make a trade, whether it's make a big signing, whether it's double up on some draft picks. What do you think Jason's mindset is going to be going into this 2026 season? Because I don't know if kind of the status quo has worked out, because he really hasn't addressed this pass rush. Or really has, but it just hasn't been as successful as it needs to be if Todd's going to be able to utilize it in the way that he prefers.
Yeah, Jason's done a lot of great things, but the one thing he has not done is draft and develop an edge rusher. It just hasn't happened. When they won the Super Bowl, Jason Pierre-Paul was traded. from the Giants. And then a year later, I think that's when Shaq Barrett arrived. And he was one of those guys that couldn't crack the Denver Broncos lineup and then had a magical, 19 and a half sacks. And even Jason didn't see that coming, okay? But as far as drafting guys, hasn't happened. Joe Tryon, Shalinka, we're still, waiting on that. Maybe he develops into something if somebody's on the other side. So, you start thinking about free agents or trades and things like that with Max Crosby. The problem with that is you're paying compensation twice. It's going to cost you 2 number one draft picks, one this year, one next year. Plus, you got to have $30 million. This team isn't flush with salary cap room. It can create some more, but at some point, I guess a lot of it depends on where the Glazers think this team is. When they have thought in the past that the team was close, they made some bold moves. In 2002, they traded for John Gruden, 2 number ones, 2 twos, and $8 million. And he brought in a bunch of free agents. In 2020, there was Tom Brady and anything Tom Brady wanted, basically. And so they went for it. I don't know if they're in the go for it mode, but they need to be, because I think that window, we always talk about it, this is Baker Mayfield's last year under contract, and he's got to have a good year. But beyond this year, if he does, you're talking about not 30 million a year, 33 million a year. You're talking about 50, 55, who knows, north of that. So I think that we need to solve the defense first and foremost. And that gets back to the Evans questions. Everybody wants Mike Evans on his football team. And I think beyond just his production, he brings a lot to it, a certain energy and all that. But what does that cost you on the defensive side if you have 2 receivers, again, at their age, making over 20, 22, $25 million? How does that make you a better football team? So at some point, these are always tough decisions. They're emotional decisions. And yet we've seen plenty of iconic players in the National Football League and other places move to other teams. Joe Montana was a Kansas City Chief, and you can go on and on. There's a litany of that. But this one's a little trickier because, what's important to Mike would be the first thing, and his family is the most important, and he'll listen to Ashley. But does he think he can win a ring someplace else? Because I don't, money's going to be negligible. I think he'll get in the range. I think the Bucs would keep him in a range where he's comfortable. But he doesn't have that many more years to play. Maybe 2, maybe 3, right, on the top side. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure. It feels to me like he will do a much thorough search than making a deal with the Bucs right before the start of free agency. I think he actually gets out there. And once you do, who knows? Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes just redid his contract and created $46 million in cap space. I don't believe in coincidences. Mm-hmm. Tyreek Hill is out there. Mike Evans is out there. So they're already starting to think about what they can do to get that team back in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a great point. Right before I let you go, I want to ask you about Lavonte David. First off, if you think he's going to come back, because, man, I tell you what, in that last press conference, it seemed like he was saying his goodbyes and his thank yous. But, yeah, he's done a great job over the last couple of years of almost saying goodbye in certain ways and being emotional, but also being level-headed and not kind of jump into conclusions here. All right, first off, do you think he's coming back? And then secondly, even if he does come back, man, they need a lot more pieces than just him. And I know he said, all right, dealing with a knee injury, but he's not going to get healthier as he gets older. It can't just be him out there. He's not the same guy, with all due respect to him. What is your thoughts on Lavonte in this whole situation?
No, you're exactly right, Jay.
Oh, we lost your phone call. We'll get him back. We lost you. Rick. Oh, we lost you again. Oh, man, we lost you. We'll get you back, Rick. That Rick's doing his spot today from a place, getting his car done. So the internet there's a little wonky, but it's okay, and we're making it work here on the program. So we know this is the great thing about having the podcast, is sometimes it's kind of up and down, and we'll see if we can get him back. Okay, just come back. Oh, there we go. We're making it work,
One,
brother. We're making it work. It's all good.
one final time. I'll spit it out quickly. Levante David is a tougher deal because of his age. And look, Jay, the tape was not great.
Yeah.
Injury or not, it wasn't good. And so you have to say, if I bring him back, he's got to be the starter, right? I mean, I don't think he's going to be a guy coming off the bench. But I will always say this, like for the great players in all sports, it's so hard to put those keys down, right? Like if one team wants you to play, it's really difficult to say no. And I don't care who it is. It seems like the better the player, the bar is closing, the vacuums are running, the lights are on, and they're still up there having one last drink. So, I think with Levante, as he gets more information, maybe he decides that his career is over. Again, that's one where the Bucks have to take the emotion out of it, but they would need two linebackers. Like I'm not sure Sebastian Dennis is the answer either. So right now you're kind of filling two spots in a way.
No doubt about it. Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times. Check out the Sports Day Tampa Bay podcast with our guy Steve Versnick as well. And then, the Players Coach, that book, man, I've seen a lot of people show you a lot of love about that book that you co-wrote with Tom Moore. So that's awesome, buddy. Cannot wait.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick.
Yep.
I'll talk to you soon,
Thanks
buddy.
for having
Thank
me,
you.
Jake. Good seeing you.
You got it, pal. All right, buddy. Bye. The great Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times. Making it work, baby. That's awesome. All right, good stuff there with our guy Rick Stroud from the Tampa Bay Times. Man, sometimes the advances of modern medicine will make it work. All right, hold on one second. All right. Make sure you guys follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Big shout out to our partners, Honest Hammer Custom Builders and Evra Health. Man, those super chats really help, and so do our partners as well. Let's see. Kind of checking. Is it still 2-2? You guys watching the game here? I got to pull it. I feel bad for Callie because he's probably watching this game too. He's going to join us. Putting this on. I wanted to make sure that he had plenty of time to be able to watch Team USA, and that's the most important thing, to watch the USA and Sweden today at 3:10. Again, Ryan Callahan joins us at 12:30 today. It's 2-2 at the end of two. Slovakia won today 6-2. A surprise to some. Switzerland and Finland 0-0 with 13 minutes left in the first. But yeah, Czechia and Canada 2-2 at the end of two. Sweden and US at 3:10 today. The quarterfinals there for Olympic hockey. Beautiful. Questions, comments, concerns, put them there at the bottom of the screen. If you guys want to join in on the conversation, here is the link right here in the chat. Again, Ryan Callahan joins us here momentarily at about 12:30-ish. What is that? Okay. Don't forget the Beckles and Recher podcast later on today, about 2:30 from the Dignitary Cafe. And then, we'll go from there. Second intermission. Look at Rolly all over it. Our rock and roll correspondent, Bart Hill. Bart, you need to be our correspondent for something. You're an OG correspondent. You've been around since the Beckles and Recher days on WDAE. Benny's our daily correspondent. Janet Best, you are not a correspondent. You are the first lady. Pasta and I share a birthday, May 25th. Nice. Mark, Hagel almost just buried. Okay, that we got to know about that one. Aishant, you need a correspondence too, buddy. We're gonna give you something. Where's our Carolina correspondent today? Steve Garner. Can't find him. Greg, our Costa Rican correspondent. Don't call him pal. Gouda's trying to take it. Louis. This situation, Mike Evans, is going to be a lot like Steven Stamkos and the Tampa Bay Lightning. See, I understand that, and in some ways, yes, I get it. However, the other part of me that I think about is, let's not forget that the relationship between okay. I'll say this now before we talk a little baseball. I understand people are talking about the Steven Stamkos situation and the Mike Evans situation and saying that they were very similar, but I got to tell you, they're not as similar as you think. Because let's not forget, during media day, before Steven Stamkos' last season with the Bolts, you could tell he was very angry that there was no communication between he and Julian Breezewell about a new contract, about a contract extension, nothing. And it took a lot of us by surprise that Stammer felt that way. We didn't really know. It was very awkward to be in the building in that room that day. On the other hand, you look at the relationship between Jason Light and Mike Evans, and Jason Light holds Mike Evans with such reverence. And I'm not saying that Julian didn't, but it's just different. Jason Light is the guy that drafted Mike Evans. That was his first draft pick. And you could tell how close not just he and him are together, but their families. That relationship is not the same as the one between Julian Breezewell and Steven Stamkos. I think that helps the Buccaneers case. Now, does that automatically mean that Mike Evans is going to stay? No. But when it comes to the decision maker and the athlete that we've all grown to love here in the Tampa Bay area, the relationships between the two parties are completely different. So just keep that in mind as we go down the road here in these Mike Evans negotiations and in this Mike Evans story. Marissa said, "You're slacking, Steve. I'm here just nuking my lunch." He's nuking his lunch, folks. He's nuking his lunch. Baseball here in the Tampa Bay area is alive and well, and I'm going to tell you why. Last night, I went to Alonzo High School to watch the game between Alonzo and Jefferson, and two of the more venerable programs in our area. And it's just so great to be able to watch these two teams go at it. And Jefferson did win 7-1 last night. Shout out to Coach Spencer Nunez. And shout out to Alonzo coach, Landy Faedo, now the longest tenured coach here in the Tampa Bay area when it comes to baseball. But this is part of the reason why I get, so frustrated with the Rays. And when people say like baseball doesn't work here, like you look at these two programs, you look at the former major leaguers that went to these schools, and I see a guy like Landy Faedo who, coached his son Alex, who played with the Rays, who coached the late great Jose Fernandez. I coached against Landy years ago when I was coaching high school baseball. And then you look at Spencer Nunez, who was the guy that I coached against when he was playing at Hillsborough High School. Now he's doing a great job over there at Jefferson, one of the top 5 teams in the county, according to our rankings from our pals at 813 Preps. When you look at Jefferson and all the players that they've had over the years with, going back to the Fred McGriffs and the Luis Gonzalez's and the Tino Martinez and Sammy Militello, right? Kevin Skelly, my guy. Baseball's alive and well here. You look at what Jesuit is doing, another win last night. And when they have Caden Wechter and Samir Mohammed and you got Ben Burke in the back of the bullpen. You got Wilson Anderson that throws in the upper 90s that hit a double and a triple last night for the Tigers. Baseball is alive and well. Looking what Tampa Catholic is doing with my guy Paulie Russo over there. They're rearing and ready to go. Another win last night over Bishop McLaughlin. You look at all the great coaches that we have here in the Bay Area. What Wilkin is doing over there at Bloomingdale. Eric Beatty at Strawberry Crest. Friday night, I'll be at Jesuit between the Tigers and Coach Miguel Menendez, and then Plant. When you look at a guy in Dennis Braun who has Kyle Tucker and Preston Tucker and Pete Alonso, baseball is thriving here in the Tampa Bay area. A big shout out to my guy Nelly North at Gaither and Eric Luxus at Sickles and Richie Warren at Berkeley. I could go on day after day, hour after hour. Dane Moore at Freedom. I want to say my alma mater because I didn't go there, but I coached there, so I got a lot of love. I mean, I'm watching Tampa Prep the other night and what they're doing. They're battling with TC. There's just so much good baseball here in the Tampa Bay area. Go out to a high school baseball game. Support our local teams. Support 813 Preps, 813preps.com. Nobody covers high school baseball quite like them. It's truly remarkable what they do here in the Bay Area. Big shout out to Chan. Been away working on music for a few days. I miss my Recher podcast fam. While you're here, buddy, Chan, appreciate the super chat right there. All right. Again, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at Recher. Couldn't do this without you guys. Our guy, Robert Clark, Red, White, and Blue Freedom. You know what? I'm rocking the red, white, and blue today because, I love Coop, but I love busting his chops even more and talking about USA hockey. And we can't talk USA hockey without the Ottawa Senators legend, the one and only Ryan Callahan. What's going on, brother? How are you?
What's going on, Jay? It's the first time I've actually heard that, the Ottawa Senators legend.
If anybody could call you that, it's me, buddy, because I've watched as many games of yours than anybody else. How's the weather? Weather looks – are you in Rochester?
No, I'm in Ocala, Florida. I'm with the kids are horseback riding right now. So,
oh my gosh!
So I'm enjoying the sunshine. Yeah, it's not like this in Rochester. I'll tell you.
I was about to say, buddy, I don't think the weather's like that right there in Rochester. We'll talk about obviously the foundation, the events coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm so excited. It's going to be awesome this year. It's awesome every year. We'll talk some Lightning as well, but Olympic hockey, brother. I mean, one of the reasons why I was a big fan of yours early on. Even when before you wore number 24, 43, was it 43 your first
43 in New York? Yeah.
There you go, buddy. See, I remember these kind of things. Was playing for Team USA with Derek Stepan and guys like Ryan McDonough, obviously. How cool is it now? Like Olympic hockey, you got an opportunity to play for your country right now. I mean, it's pretty awesome to see all these guys out there, and especially the guys that you played with. I mean, you see Hetty out there representing Sweden. Yep. It's got to be cool to watch Olympic hockey from your vantage point.
Yeah, it's awesome. I've missed it the last bunch of years when the NHL hasn't been able to go, and the biggest thing for me is watching these guys that I've played with that haven't been on that stage before, or guys I played against that didn't have that opportunity of competing in the Olympics, because I know how much it meant to me, to put on that USA sweater and represent your country, and how special just the entire games are to be a part of. So I'm honestly happy for all the guys that are stars in the NHL that finally get to represent their country on this stage. And I mean, it's fun to watch. I mean, last I checked before I jumped onto here, it was 2-2 Canada. Yep. So they find themselves in a little bit of a dogfight, which, now we're getting elimination, right? And anything could happen. Mm-hmm. And these games are exciting now.
Yeah. And I'm, last year at the Four Nations, I wore a blue suit the day after USA lost with red and white shoes, thinking I was going to, stand up for my country. And who's the first person to see me is Julian Brisebois. He goes, "Hey, look, Canada shoes." I'm like, "God dang it, Julian. That wasn't what I was trying to get at here, buddy."
That's all right. We'll give them the Four Nations. We'll take this one, right?
I'm hoping, buddy. We got to get there first, and it's hard to cheer against our guys too. I mean, following Hetty and knowing Hetty as long as we do. What is that like, being able to turn that off and turn it back on? Especially you see the Florida Panthers and the Lightning. I mean, the guys are scrapping, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, it's like, are you back on your – was that hard for you at all? I mean, like I said, you did have a couple of guys that you played with on your team. Is that hard to kind of turn it off, turn it back on?
No, it's really not. It's funny how – I mean, the NHL is a brotherhood, right? You'll see guys that get in a full-on scrap and after the game are hugging each other, go out for a beer. It's very easy as a player to kind of just turn that switch on and off. And I mean, you also think about it, how many guys get traded, right? And you enter a room with a team that you've been battling with your whole career, and all of a sudden you're, line mates with a guy that you fought 3 times. So I think the guys have some experience of that. And as I said earlier, there's no greater experience and honor that representing your country. So I think all that goes aside as soon as you walk in and you see the red, white, and blue, or the colors of Sweden or whatever it is.
Who would have thought there would be an outdoor game in Tampa? Right. And I was just watching, I'm sitting in the press box, and I'm sitting there with Phil Esposito and a couple of other guys. Oh, Mike Rupp. And we're just sitting there how the hell did this happen? Right. When you're watching a game, and you've been there, you've obviously been in the Tampa area, to see that, to watch that game, to see Vazzy drop the gloves that, from your perspective, what was that like watching it?
It was awesome. Cause I remember when I was there, towards the last maybe 2-3 years, there was talk in the room about us getting an outdoor game. And, and we knew they were talking to the league about it, and there was that possibility, but it never came to fruition at that point. So, I wasn't fully surprised when I heard they got the game. But actually seeing it, in the production they put on, and then they, like you said, continue it, all of a sudden Vassy's charging down the ice. That's amazing, because, I couldn't believe it, because you could see Swayman was involved, right? He was in it. and I'm
Yep.
watching it on TV, so I can't see. And in my back of my head, I'm like, oh, I wonder if Vasi's coming down, and then all of a sudden you hear the announcers, Vasilevsky's coming down. So it was a great job. And Tampa did an unreal job, which I knew they would, just the whole atmosphere, how the rink looked. I mean, the city of Tampa represents themselves as first class. They always do, and they did again.
Yeah, it's funny because I was in the press box and behind me were the Lightning guys that didn't play. So it was like
Okay.
Lilleberg and Dastu and Finley and Douglas and Pointer, and they're like cheering in the press box, which is like a complete no-no. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I'm not telling them not to cheer. I mean, how could you not cheer? It's Andrei Vasilevsky fighting. We didn't know that was going to happen. It was pretty crazy. We were talking about you in the Lightning locker room last week. Gage Gonsalves has been a guy that's like they've been putting out there on the shootouts now. And he does this like nice subtle move and he throws it over and I'm like, oh, that's a great move. And he goes, oh yeah, I used to watch Stammer do that. And I was like, well, let me give you a little bit of information, buddy, where Stammer got that move from. And he goes, it's not an original. I go, no, man, that's a Ryan Callahan original. And Gage is one of those big like video guys. He goes back and watches the triplets and watches. So he was like, oh my God, I got it. So he's probably watched the video since then of you scoring in the shootout. Yeah. And I used to bust Stammer's chops about that all the time. I was like, you're going to score 500 goals in this league and you're stealing moves from other people. He's like, how cool is it to see him? Because it obviously, and I spoke to him a couple months ago. It didn't look good last year. I mean, but then, and even the beginning of this year, but to be able to see our guy be able to bounce back and he just looks like the Stammer of old. He's really rallied the troops there. It's got to be nice to see a guy that you spend so much time with kind of like find another gear here at a new place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your heart went out for him when he left Tampa, went to Nashville, and then, you're cheering for him when he gets there to do well. And obviously it doesn't get off to the start he wants. And, last year was a tough year for him. And then, as you said, even this year, the start of it, you're looking at it and you're pulling for him, rooting for him. And then all of a sudden, he gets a couple in the net and it's all of a sudden he's back to Stammer that we're used to seeing. And, and you figured, I mean, I knew it was a matter of time. I mean, there's no way you're that good. And then all of a sudden, you don't know how to score anymore. So it was just a matter of time before he got going again. But, Nashville's one of those teams because of Stammer that I'm definitely pulling for. I'd like to see them make that push, especially the way they look like they were down and out at the start of this year. And then how bad last year went. So it's good to see Stammer doing that well.
I know we've talked about this before, but now we're kind of getting in, and I think you're the perfect person to ask this. Mike Evans, he was here when you were here. I mean, this is a guy that's a Tampa Bay legend. He's probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but now people are worried that he might go somewhere else. And now people are kind of talking about how, it's kind of reminiscent eerily about the Steven Stamkos situation. Yep. And, me and you have talked about this, and me growing up and being a diehard Ranger fan, I wasn't comfortable for you getting traded to the Lightning, and I lived here, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. At what point, because we know it's a business, and you just alluded to that, right? Of like, guys going, but it's hard. I mean, you're a guy that, you were red, white, and blue. You were a captain of an original 6 franchise. And I remember talking to Mac about this. He goes, it takes a little while to kind of adjust to realizing that this is a business. At what point in your kind of career did that really set in? That it was like, yeah, you want to give everything you have for your team, for the C, but you also understand that at any time, people look at the salary and they look at your spot on the squad too.
Yeah, I think you realize that, right at the start of my career, I think you realize it just because you see all the movement of guys that are on the team,
right.
Not signing, free agency, but it definitely didn't, fully hit home, I think, until that year I got traded. I went through some contract negotiations in previous years that, weren't exactly smooth, but, we figured it out, right? And at that year, the year I got traded, I mean, I've told you this before, that, negotiations were a complete mess, and, you could kind of see the uglier side of the business. And, you never want to leave. And, I've said it before, it's partially my fault, pride. And, you see all these free agents coming into New York and you're a homegrown kid, a captain, you feel like you deserve that payday. And, at the end of the day, it was a no trade clause that ended up breaking that deal up. And it's not easy, and I know for Stammer, it wasn't easy for him to leave Tampa. That's, he didn't want to do that. Like, he loved Tampa, but it's an unfortunate part of the business. And who knows what happens with Mike Evans. And I'm sure he feels the same way as I did when I left New York, Stammer when he left Tampa. It's going to be a hard thing. He has to go.
Yeah. And you know what? Everything works out, right? Everything happens
exactly.
for a reason. Because I think, we think at that time, and again, I was like, I was I couldn't understand. Like, I'm like, yeah, how do you not make it work?
Yeah.
Yours was such a unique case too, brother, because yours were and I can understand why the negotiations were so tough, because you couldn't look at the back of your hockey card and feel that, like your impact when you were out there was, you couldn't quantify it with numbers. I mean, just look at the injuries that you had, you crazy maniac, blocking slap shots by Chara and Ovechkin.
Yeah,
I said
that's
stupidity. That guy's a $10 million. That guy's a $10 million a year guy blocking shots from those guys. Isn't it crazy? Ovechkin still playing?
It's wild. Still making an impact, right? And you look at Ovi too, and he's not like you look at some of these guys that are just like their physique. You're like, oh, it makes sense why that guy's still playing, right?
Yeah.
You look at him; he's on the beach with his shirt off. He looks like maybe he could go crush 40 beers, or he could go out and score a hat trick in the NHL. It's a toss up. So it's impressive what he's done. It's absolutely crazy. The thing is, like, a lot of people forget Ovechkin early on in his career. I mean, later in his career, he hasn't done it, but he was so physical too. I mean, he had some wear and tear on his body. I remember those playoff series when I was with the Rangers against Washington. Early in my career. It seemed like we play him every year, but like, he was a freight train. He'd run Girardi and Stahl. Like, he didn't turn away from any type of contact. Right. So it's not like, he was one of these perimeter guys that just scored goals. Like, to have that wear and tear in your body and still be able to do it at his age, it's crazy. That Russian sauce, it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my favorite moments years ago in the All-Star game was when Gretzky filled in for Torts, and he put Mac with Crosby and Ovechkin. He goes, "You've been chasing around these guys for the last 7 or 8 years. Go play with them now."
Yeah,
I'm like, exactly. That's really cool. Mac's like, it was probably one of the coolest moments of my life. I'm like, dude, you've playing in the Metro for all those years is such a pain.
Wild.
All right, I want to ask you about the Lightning this year. What have you seen? I mean, this team is really kind of rounding into form and playing well. I mean, the Olympic break probably couldn't have come at a worse time for a team like that.
Yeah.
When you look at your old club, I mean, what do you see? It seems like we're seeing a lot of what we saw 4 or 5 years ago, where it's not just about scoring, but being a tough team to play against.
Yeah, and I think the way they've done it this year too, dealing with the injuries, has been really impressive, right? I mean, they've had some key guys out of the lineup. McDonough had been for quite some time. So to be able to, play new guys in and have different roles, I think that's going to go a long way as you get into playoffs, and helps with guys' confidence. And, I look at that team, and you look at the East, they have just as good a shot as anybody coming out of the East. This is one of those years where you think that they definitely have a great shot at getting to the Stanley Cup final. And, as Julian Breezeball, when he sees that opportunity, I can guarantee he's not going to be quiet at the deadline. And I could see him adding to this team. And it's, it's crazy to think that their window is still open, after all these years. It goes to show you what a great job that, Breezeball has done with that team and that organization, and their drafting and some of the trades that he's made and signings that he's made. He hasn't completely handcuffed himself. And, it's impressive, and it's going to be a fun stretch, I think, for Tampa as they gear towards the playoffs and have another good shot at adding another cup to the history of the Lightning.
I've said for the last 12 years of covering sports in this town, the most unique player and probably the most difficult player, to be honest, to cover is Cooch, because he's so quiet and he doesn't like to talk to the media. It's like pulling teeth. Ironically enough, he couldn't wait to talk to me after the Vazzy fight because he loves talking about other people. And I was like, I don't know if you saw, but it went on SportsCenter. It was like the Jay Recher podcast on SportsCenter. I was like, hey, Ma, I made it. Because of what, talking to Nikita Kucherov, of course.
Yeah.
But what is it about him? I mean, because it's, when I talk to the players, he doesn't obviously love talking to the media. And I get that, even though and this, it's Tampa. It's not New York. We're not writing hit. There's no, and God rest his soul, there's no Larry Brookses down here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're very nice to him. Like, we don't ask to talk to him when we don't have to talk to him. Nobody bothers him, but it's still the 3 times we talk to him, it's like pulling teeth. But all the players I talk to, either privately or publicly, they're like, Jay, he's a great teammate. He just doesn't like talking to you guys.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean,
what is it like for him? Right? That's all he cares about, right?
That's all he cares about, which is, you can commend. I mean, he cares about his teammates and he cares about playing hockey. It's unfortunately for the media side of it, it's the last thing he wants to do is talk to you guys, or, when I was involved, or talk to me when I was doing the media stuff. But, that's what Cooch is. He's all about hockey. And, the media sometimes paints a bad picture of him, I think, because of that, because he doesn't like to talk to the media. And but for every guy in that room, me being one of them, playing with him, he's an unreal guy. He cares about his teammates. He wants to win. He demands the most out of himself as well. I mean, everybody knows the stories about how quickly he gets back on the ice after the season. It's impressive what he's done. And what I love watching about Cooch in his game is just how he slows it down. He's not a Connor McDavid or a Nathan McKinnon where he's going 100 miles per hour coming at you with speed. He thinks the game so well. He slows it down to his speed. He gets those shoulders, wiggling a little bit. He finds those open lanes. He's got an unreal shot. Just the way he thinks the game. I haven't seen a player like that in a long, long time. And it's impressive to watch. And it was fun to watch on a day-to-day basis, especially in practice. I mean, I loved watching him in practice. And anytime we had to go up against each other, I didn't love that. But, just be able to watch him and see what he does, his creativity, the amount of work he puts in before and after practice. It's a treat to watch.
Yeah, and listen, I've talked to Nathan McKinnon a couple times, and he always wants to talk about Kucherov. That's all he wants to talk about. And he'll like ignore everybody else in the scrum and just lock in on me and want to know about Kucherov. He's blown away. He goes, Jay, I have to go so fast to be productive and to be good in this league. Yep. And Cooch just goes so slow. He's like, he loves watching that guy. He just loves being a fan when it comes to that. All right, let's talk about your foundation, man. Obviously, I've been a part the last couple of years. It means the world to me. This year, I don't know if you heard the news. Have you heard the news?
I know the news. It's big news.
All right,
big
news. Yeah. I'm going to be emceeing the big event this year. Again, for all the information, RyanCallahanFoundation.org. And we're going to do a fireside chat with Ryan and Kyla, which is going to be really fun. I've done this with Denard Span, former Rays great, and his wife, Annie, and people love just an insight on about you guys, you know what I mean? And it'll be fun because I'm not going to be like, Ryan, what's the, Pythagorean theorem? Like, I'm not going to put the screws to you or anything, but it's just fun. Like, people want to know, and I know how much this means to you and Kyla, and for you guys to be able to still have this impact down here. What is that like, knowing that, you guys live in Rochester now, but Tampa's still, home for you guys?
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, you think about where it started and, just bringing families with pediatric cancer into a suite my first year in Tampa and thinking that's all we were going to do to, 12 years later. And we have a full foundation running in the whole state of Florida, the whole state of New York, helping so many families and kids. It's crazy what it's turned into. It's kind of, a pinch me type of a scenario where you can't believe, without the help of the community, the help of you, everybody that's involved, obviously we would have never been able to get to this point and reach so many families. And, this event we're throwing is our biggest fundraiser we do to help raise money, for these families that go directly to them. And, it's even when, it's been 5 years now since I've stopped playing, 5-6 years, which sounds crazy to me, but, even when I, the support that community has shown Kyla and I and our foundation, from the moment we got there until, 6 years after I'm done playing is absolutely remarkable. It just shows that how close that community is, how much they care about giving back. And these kids are reaping the benefit because of it.
Friday, February 27th, the silent auction goes live this Friday. Again, go to RyanCallahanFoundation.org. Cannot wait for the fireside chat with Kyla and Ryan. Again, RyanCallahanFoundation.org. Can't wait to be the MC. I want to ask you about your wife because she is, to me, like, and I love you and what I feel about you, but when she gets up there and speaks every year, like, she's like a modern day Maya Angelou, this woman. Like, bro, it's wild. And you're up there and it's powerful, Callie.
Yeah, there's a reason why I speak first. I'm not following that act.
And it's not, listen, it's not that you're a bad speaker either, brother. I mean, you did a great job on TV, and I know you're just being facetious, and you got so much better on TV, and you were very comfortable, and it was just great to hear you because you're insight on the game. But my God, man, she talks people into the building, man. And it's just so commendable that you've started this, and it means so much to her.
It really does. And, when she gives those speeches and she's talking, I mean, it's coming from the heart, right? It's, I think she's just speaking from her soul and her belief in what we're doing and her care for these families. And it translates in the way she speaks and the way she feels about it. And like I've said before, like, my name's on the foundation, but she's the heartbeat behind it. She's every day, working with these families, trying to raise money, running our programs. I mean, she's on a one-on-one basis with these families, text messaging mothers and getting updates on the kids. And she pours her her blood, heart, sweat, and tears, whatever you say, into it, and it shows. And I'm very proud of her for what she's doing and the amount of family she's helping.
Yeah, it's awesome. Those monthly calls that we have, man, we knock a lot of stuff out. We get a lot of stuff done. So again, RyanCallahanFoundation.org, Friday, February 27th. How are you enjoying it? Around the family a lot more, not doing any of the
more.
TV stuff.
Yeah, no, got the kids riding the bikes, riding horses. So it's yeah, I need my own vacation. Maybe golf trip. Want to go on a golf trip?
Sounds good, buddy. You let me know, brother. All right, I'll be in touch. We'll talk before the event, and we'll go over some of the stuff. But thank you so much for your time today. And again, we'll continue pushing the event every day on the show until the 27th. It'll be here before you know it. You're the man, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Anytime. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Good stuff. As always, the one and only Ryan Callahan. He is the man. Again, I'm so proud to be able to be a part of the Callahan Foundation and the stuff that they do for these families affected by pediatric cancer. It's not just the kid, it's the whole family and the stories that are told at the event every year, and to see the support from the Lightning, the organization. I mean, Brian Engbaum, we had him on the show yesterday. He's like, I'll be at the event. I said, okay, I got some special shoes picked out. If you have a platform in this life to be able to give back and to be able to help people, please do it. You don't necessarily understand the impact that you could have on somebody else's life. Now, it may not be like the Callahan Foundation, but gosh, if it could just affect one person. I said this on the show yesterday, Xavier Scruggs, our guy from ESPN and the MLB Network, him telling me at Denard's event a couple of years ago, hey, I really love your Recher's Rapid Reaction, man. Keep that rolling. I was like this. Should I keep doing it? And now I do it after every game, and people, people enjoy it. Or I hope they enjoy it. I think they do. We get a pretty good, if I don't do it, people are like, what the hell's wrong with you? My favorite quote of all time is from Jackie Robinson, and I never get it right, but it's to the extent of a life is important as, only as important as the impact that it has on others. Right. And I'm so all about that. Look at Rolly. Super interesting content from Ryan, only on the JR podcast. You got that, buddy. Very excited. I don't know if you guys have seen working on some new logo stuff. Have you guys seen some of the new logo stuff? I don't know if I have it on here. I hope I do. Yeah, man. I don't think I do. All right, let me I want to show it to you guys real quick. Still 2-2, about 7 minutes left. Pretty crazy, man. All right, here we go. Oh, snap. Czechia scores. 3-2. What? No way. Wow, dude. What is going on? You already know. Harley, shot blocked by Hurdle, giving it all he's got. Pasternak coming down. Oh, no, that's Natchez. Down the right wing, looking back. Andre Palat, Pally in the house. Wow. Number 18 in your programs, number 1 in your heart, Andre Palat. Andre the Giant. Wow. Tomáš Hurdle. That is what it takes to win in the Olympics. That type of effort. You don't necessarily see Tomáš Hurdle going down, blocking shots, going down on the ice like that for the Vegas Golden Knights. Not like it's just there's other guys that do that on this, but that is what it takes to be successful. And now Canada is going to push. This is going to be the longest 7 minutes for Czechia, and they're going full bore. They went to the fire line, or whatever you want to call it, the danger line. They got Celebrini. They've got McDavid. They've got McKinnon out there. Looks like with Harley and McCarr. Harley's playing a lot in this game. Celebrini shot saved. Dostal. Puck loose. Sorry if you guys are behind or ahead. I don't care. Whoa, dude. Unfreaking believable. Andre Palat. Andre the Giant. Corey Long, our guy, just texted me, Ed and Eric. Guys, we're going to stay right here, and I'm just going to give you live play-by-play as we roll. Am I ahead? Am I behind? Where am I at? 6:35 left in the quarterfinals. Czechia up 3-2 over Canada. Canada outshooting the Czechs 35-20. Wow, man, this is insane. We were worried about, all right, is Team USA going to get there and be able to play Sweden? Wow, unbelievable. The big thing here. Oh, thank you, Mark. Swiss beating Finland 2-0. Another play. What a block by Hurdle on Harley. Natchez out skating Suzuki, and the back pass to Palat. Palat beats Binnington on the stick side, and those guys are very excited. And again, Doughty out there, Suzuki out there. I mean, those were some of the guys that I questioned on the team. Horvat losing the face-off a little while ago on that power play goal to Pasternak. Man, it would have been nice to have Cirelli on there. Less than 6 minutes to go in this quarterfinal. Wow, icing call. So here's the thing I want you guys to keep an eye on. You're listening to the show here, and we're also watching it. We're doing this together, baby. Wow. Unfreaking believable. So here's the thing you're going to have to watch for. John Cooper is a guy that likes to pull that goalie early, 2.5 minutes. Does he wait a little bit longer because of how often they have the puck? Oh, that's a big play by Pasternak and Marner. All right, turnovers 5 feet on each side of the blue line are going to be huge for both of these teams. You got to get the puck in. You got to get the puck out. If you're the Czechs, you got to many face-offs, slow the game down. Canada is going to keep buzzing here. They're going to keep pushing. They're going to stack that top line. It's going to be McDonough. It's going to be McKinnon. It is going to be Celebrini. No Sidney Crosby. And shout out to our guys, 813 Preps with the $10 super chat. Again, 813 Preps, 813preps.com for all of your high school baseball needs. I mean, and thank you, buddy, so much. Chuck was out there last night. My goodness. Oh, look at Benny watching both Palat and Jay Recher together, baby. This is how we roll. And again, shout out to Jefferson and Jesuit, everybody. Man, I'm like steaming, right? Not in a bad way. I'm like hot right now in my head because of what we could see here. We've been building this whole thing up to US and Canada. And everybody was saying, well, the U.S. has a much tougher path and they have to go through Sweden and all, and not saying that game is going to be easy by any means, right? Not going to be easy because you know how crazy it's going to be because Sweden is legit. And we'll see what happens in goal, right? You just have a game like this. Dostal has to step up. But my goodness, 3-2 right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring in Erik Erlendsson here just so we can watch the game together. You're not Ottawa Senators legend Ryan Callahan. Let me change that really fast. Callie was great to have on. What's going on, brother?
Just watching an entire country squeeze up a little bit right now.
Oh, and you see who scored the goal. So, we're just going to watch the game together as we talk these first 5-6 minutes because everybody's excited and everybody's watching both at the same time. So that's why I brought you on earlier. Just had Callie on, which was fun. Andre Palat, brother. Andre freaking Palat. Some things never change, right?
What was it Steven Stamkos called him in 2022? Sneaky Pete.
Yes.
Sneaky Pete.
Canada's going to go all out. It's going to Celebrini, McDavid, McKinnon. That's what it's going to be.
Makar.
A whole lot of that.
Yeah.
Makar and Kane's out there now.
5 minutes left. They'll play about 4.5.
Yeah. Where are you at right now? How much time left?
I got 5:19 left on my clock.
Okay, cool. So we're
I have it on my phone. So yeah.
Oh, so do I. So we're good. So I think we're linked. We're synced up. So yeah, because as soon as I saw Palat score, everybody like put it in the chat. So it was just the perfect timing. As soon as Callie got off, I was like, all right, we're going to watch a game. We're going to do a live broadcast with Double E and listen, Czechs are just going to keep doing this if they have to. They'll ice the puck, 7, 8 seconds, 12 seconds, right? I mean, why not?
The analytics will tell you too that it's better to do that, right?
It's crazy how that's changed, right? Remember, because it was like, never ice the puck. Now guys are shooting for the empty net all the time.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with pulling the goalie.
Yeah,
right? Remember, man, coaches would not pull a goalie until they were maybe a minute. Like a minute was early. Like they would wait until you were down into seconds left in the game before you do it. Now you see. Certainly, John Cooper gets his fair share of criticism if he pulls the goalie with like 5 minutes left, and but that's
Patrick
what. Well, Patrick is really the first guy who
started it. Yeah.
Right now, I remember playoffs a number of years ago. I think it was the Kings and the Red Wings. Andy Murray was the coach of the Kings, I believe, if memory serves correct, where they were down 3 goals in a playoff game, and he pulled the goalie with like 8 minutes to go, and LA ended up coming back and winning that game. Right. So that's the first time I remember a coach pulling a goalie with like more than a minute and a half left in a game. Now they were 3 goals down at the time. So it's circumstances a little different.
Yeah. It don't matter if you lose by 3 or 5, right?
Right. Especially in the playoffs. Right.
Yeah.
So we've seen, certainly analytics in baseball is the biggest change we've seen through the years and how a baseball game can be broken down analytically. And, certainly it's there. I just got an update from Elliot Friedman. About 20 seconds behind.
Don't read Elliot Friedman.
It came across, so I won't say what it is. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah,
Damn it, Elliot.
Those trains of thoughts.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Oh, there we go.
Wow. They were just showing replay earlier today. Czech Republic, then the Czech Republic in the 98 games in Nagano, where it took a last-second goal by Canada to tie that game.
Yeah.
And that was Lindros and Gretzky, and that team in 98 was obviously stacked in a lot of ways. Czech Republic ended up going on to win the game in overtime, but you never know. Oh, nice redirect. And Brandon Hagel on the ice.
Yep. Hagel, Suzuki. Oh, that's money right there, buddy.
Yep. Boy. Well, you can breathe a little bit of relief, but not too much because it's still a tie game.
Yeah.
Right? And this one looks like it might go to OT.
Unbelievable.
Unless, I say this because, I referee soccer. I did a girls' region final last night in Oviedo.
Wow. That's not
Vieira. Close. Yeah. Vieira was the visiting team and Oviedo was the home team. Man, it looked like nobody was going to score. It was 1-1, 9 minutes into the game. And I remember saying to the crew, man, these teams could probably play for another hour and a half and not score another goal. And Vieira scored in the 79th minute of an 80-minute game to win the game 2-1.
Wow. So. Unbelievable. You think it's an advantage for some of the Lightning players that aren't there? For the Lightning overall to not have Cirelli and Point and Kucherov and Vazzy? Do you think in the long run that could help?
There's no doubt that the rest helps. And we had a chance to talk to Braden today because the team returned to practice. So we did have a chance to chat with Braden, and he did say that he could have potentially played if they got to the quarterfinals, and because it was another week and a half. He just said he felt it was the best decision for everybody involved, himself, the Lightning, and Team Canada, if he didn't go. So he got that extra time to rest and recover. He got on the ice a couple of times, he said, during the break to test the knee. And, he went through a full thing today. We'll see where he stands next week, but that's certainly going to help him. Cirelli was in a red no contact jersey. So, we'll see where his status is. There's still a week before the season resumes, before we'll know more about that. But yeah, I mean, especially for Vasilevsky, right? We know that he's been going back to training camp. There's probably been a little something that he's not letting on that's kind of been bugging him a little bit, not, hampering his game, but probably something that, it hasn't been 100% healthy and correct. So the chance to get that recovery, but also the mental rest. You think of the number of high level games that he's played through the years. And so I think it helps. Kucherov as well.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they still have 8 other players, that participated there. But so Bjorkstrand, right? Like Denmark was eliminated earlier today. So, or yesterday, they were eliminated yesterday. So, he still got 4 games in, right? So it was only 4 games in a week and a half. That's not going to be as tight as the schedule that's coming up for the Lightning. Right. So he's out there practicing. So there's a different fluidity to what, those guys have gone through that have been over in Italy and what they've been able to accomplish. So there are 2 sides of it. Are the guys coming back? Are they going to be able to just kind of step right back in because they have been playing games compared to guys who, and Rob Zetler, we had a chance to talk to him today. He said, the guys looked a little gassed at the end of the 45 minutes because there was a lot of up and down the ice. And, it wasn't a full squad. There were only, probably 14, 15 players there with all the injury guys coming back. But he said the biggest thing was the hands. He said some guys have to get their hands back.
Right.
Ooh, what a big save by Binnington that was.
Oh, wow.
So
Natchez is it's confusing because he wears 98, and I'm like, oh, Pasternak. Oh, no, not a Pasternak. Oh man, Coop's Coop
was a hook there
tight.
Too.
I know Coop was tight.
Yep.
Coop was tight right there, buddy. I tell
Not
you,
just Coop, an entire nation.
Yeah, you got that right, buddy. I tell you what, though, it's really cool. I mean, you see Natchez with the shot block there, and on the Palat goal, you see, Tomas Hertl go down, and it's really cool to be able to see these guys, and it's almost like playoff hockey, right? Where I remember watching Nikita Kucherov going down to block a shot at the end of the Stanley Cup Final, Game 5 against the Canadiens, right? That's the great thing about this Olympic hockey, and I think hockey in general, we see it so much in soccer. With you and I being big soccer fans, is like the whole club versus country thing, but there's no oh, hey, we're not going to try because it's our country. Like, this means a lot to these guys, man.
Yep. So, I was listening to a little bit of NHL Network radio on the drive back from the practice rink, and an Islanders fan in particular was like, "Oh, I'm so worried about Bo Horvat being injured. Is there any consideration that the owners would just say enough of this? We don't want our guys injured." No, the players want this big time. Right. They fought hard for this. They missed it. We've missed it. Right, man. Think back to that 2010 gold medal game, Canada, US, that went overtime. And, the moment, the Sidney Crosby golden goal moment. And, are there chances guys get hurt? Yeah. John Tavares got hurt, in one of the Olympics, 1 year. And certainly the Kevin Fiala situation, he's out for the rest of the season after, breaking his leg. For Switzerland, and he's unavailable for LA. That stuff happens, but you can get hurt in practice. You could be Connor Bedard and get hurt at dinner, right? This is it's the nature of the game. It's the nature of sports. Injuries are going to happen, and I've seen some people say, why is this player getting hurt for a meaningless tournament? This tournament has a lot of meaning.
Not meaningless for them. That's
hey,
for sure.
When Sweden won in 2006 and Freddie Modin came back with the gold medal, the pride that he had, the parade that they had for that team in Stockholm after the Olympics, because that one was in Italy as well. This means a lot to the players. The number of times we've talked to Victor Hedman here over the past month as he's come back, and with an eye is a big reason why, the surgery that he had happened when it did, because he was trying to get back to the Lightning, but he also did not want to miss out on this opportunity to wear, the Swedish jersey in the Olympics. He's never had that opportunity. And so for him to get that chance, this means a lot. You see the passion that comes out, especially now. These are playoff games. These are game sevens. It's win or go home, right? especially in the quarterfinals. There's probably more pressure in the quarterfinals because if you can get past the quarters, you're going to play for a medal.
Yeah.
Right. It's a question of what color it's going to be,
Right.
but you're going to play for a medal. So the biggest pressure does come, I think, in these quarterfinals. And that's when Latvia put the scare into Canada in 2014 and, the 60 save performance by Kristus Gulevskis. They could not solve him in that game. And, when they finally got that go-ahead goal in the third period against Latvia, it means a lot. And as fans, we've been kind of robbed of this.
Yeah.
Right. I know they were supposed to go in 22 and, things happened the way they did, but this is a lot of fun. The players care about it. I think we saw that last year at the Four Nations, which was not like this.
Right.
So it's I'm glad the NHL players are back. Not only does it, give me a couple of weeks away from the rink selfishly, but we get to watch some of this, some of the best players in the world compete for their countries and what is a best on best outside of Russia tournament that's taking place, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. And today is when the fun really begins because the quarterfinals are here. Slovakia. I mean, what do you think it means to Erik Chernak? If anybody caught some of the quotes from Erik Chernak and what it means for them, this tiny country, Slovakia with only 5 million people to be a semifinalist. Means a lot to them. The pride that they have, to get to this point after, the successful Olympics they had 4 years ago without the NHL players, and they've had some success in the World Juniors and everything else. So playing for country matters and matters to these guys, and that's why they push so hard to get this in the CBA negotiations.
Slavkovsky looks damn good, doesn't he?
Yeah, too bad he's in the Atlantic Division.
I know, right? It's like, shit, man, we don't want to see this guy. Is this 3-on-3?
It's 3-on-3, yep.
Oh, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. It's going to be
McDavid out there.
And Makar?
Yeah.
If they lose this game with those three guys on the ice, John Cooper's not going to be allowed back north of the border.
If they lose this game at all, he's not going to be allowed back.
Oh, my gosh.
If Czechia wins this game, this might be the end of John Cooper's international Team Canada hockey coaching career. That's how much pressure is on Canada. Like, there's a ton of pressure on Canada.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I want to talk smack to Coop if they lose, but then, like, this will be bad if they lose, right? Like, it'll be bad. Like, no, you know what I'm saying?
No,
I mean, look at like as far as like how people are going to treat him. Like, there's going to be terrible things said.
Dude, when they were down 2-1 after the first period, the criticisms already began. Why is Sam Bennett not playing this game? Boy, they could really use Connor Bedard right now. Like they got to rely on more guys than just McDavid to produce for them. And like, it was amazing how quickly all that criticism came out in a game that was 2-1 after 20 minutes. So yeah, there's no doubt about it. And just look at the reaction for, the World Juniors when Canada lost in the quarters on home ice.
Right.
Right. And we got to completely tear up the program and everything like that. So, yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sweating right now. Sweating. Don't tell us about Elliot. Do you have Elliot's tweets?
I do.
Belled? He's one of those guys. Do you have anybody else's tweets belled? I got Lightning Media. That's it. Uh-oh. Coming. Oh, Jesus. He scores big goals for them, doesn't he?
And he's had a relatively quiet tournament to now. Now he's a national hero, except in Toronto.
I'm gutted for Czechia. Gutted.
Yep.
Oh man, that sucks for them. Oh, Coop Sky Marner.
And the guy that everybody thought didn't have any confidence, Jordan Binnington, coming up with that save on Marty Natchez.
Yeah.
Right? Breakaway save.
Oh, man.
Wow.
I'm sick for them, and I don't even really care. Karel Vejmelka, I'm surprised he didn't get a look. The guy's got the most wins in the league.
He was number 3.
Yeah, I know. He didn't even.
Dan Vlader was number 2 for them. So.
They said that I think what it was Dostal, whatever he did in international play really meant a lot to them.
Yeah.
I guess he did something really well. Bro, Unfreaking believable.
Yeah. So one of the other criticisms that I caught during that 2-1 when they were trailing 2-1 was John Cooper's had confidence in Jordan Pennington for 380 days. Why is Sam Bennett not in this lineup? Right? Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's massive pressure. And look at that. He went 1-on-3.
Oh God, that was bad angle. What a bad angle from the goaltender. Andre Kasha right by him. Decent against Kasha and Kampf too. Those are two good defenders too. Bad positioning from Dostal. Hey, Mitch Marner scored that goal in the Four Nations last year on that stretch pass from Crosby too. So
yep.
So how do you look at this if you're Team Canada now watching this game? Do you look at it as, hey, this is the adversity that they needed, or do you look at it as like there's holes in the game?
There's not many holes in their game.
No, all right. So let me rephrase that. All right, because here's my thing. Down the stretch, you didn't see a lot of Doughty, right? You didn't see a lot of you didn't see a lot of Parayko. You saw a lot of Makar. You saw a lot of Thomas Harley. You saw a lot of those young legs on the blue line. And that, if you could look at one thing, that would be the clear advantage for, like, let's say a Team USA. It's that they're not going to get tired, right? Just because they have the Hughes and McAvoy, Werenski and Sanderson, and amazing. And then, you have Jacob Slavin and Brock Faber. And then you could throw Noah Hannafin in there. I thought is played really well as their seventh defenseman. I think Coop shortening the bench obviously was out of necessity, but also you look at, I don't think those other defenders are playing all that well. They were on the ice for that last goal, and it looks like Sidney Crosby, losing him. If you miss him, it's good to have a guy like Sam Bennett you could throw in there, but Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, no doubt. I think in these tournaments, like, that's one of the things I thought about Canada. They didn't face much adversity in the group stage, right? Easily beat Czechia 5-0 to open, right? They 10-2, in their final group game. Like, they didn't really face much to kind of to make them uncomfortable. And sometimes you need to feel a little uncomfortable to answer some questions about yourself. So a game like today, they were uncomfortable for a good portion of this game, right? They hadn't trailed in a best on best with NHL players since the 2010 gold medal game, I think, when the U.S. had a lead on them. So they hadn't felt this kind of adversity, and this was definitely some of it. So I think this will strengthen them a little bit to find. They got answers from Jordan Binnington big time, right? So it's I think with Crosby, we'll see what he looks like for the semifinals now. But I don't see a lot of holes in Canada's game, and I think that a game like this to come out on top, you answer some questions about yourself in a lot of ways. You got that taste of adversity. Like I said, the quarters, I think, is the most pressure, especially for the favored teams.
I'm with you, buddy. And I'm tweeting it out now. Canada wins in overtime 4-3. Mitch Marner talking about this now with double E Erik Erlendsson. And I tell you what, man, people thought that the game this morning would be the best game. It was certainly. I don't know how the rest of the game is going to live up to that one, right?
Well, we'll see. I mean, U.S. Sweden, man, those are two of the medal favorites, right? Those are two of the three teams in this tournament that is completely nothing but NHL players, right? Canada's the other one. So, they've run into Sweden a few times here through the Olympics, and that one has the makings, depending on which team USA is going to show up and which team Sweden is going to show up. Sweden's had goaltending issues, right? Jacob Markstrom and Gustafsson have not been very good, even though they have. By the way, the injuries just keep on coming for the Lightning. Max Crozier's out 10 weeks. He had core muscle surgery. Even during the break, the injuries continue to hit the Lightning. So that answers one of our questions. What was the defensive core going to look like coming back? And now without Crozier available, that kind of answers one of them.
Yeah, but, I mean, you think about it too, though. I mean, maybe that was the reason why. And again, oh my gosh, that sucks for him. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the reason why. I mean, did this just happen, you think?
No, actually, I had a chance to kind of chat real quickly this morning with them, and it said it's something he has been dealing with. I mean, the poor guy's been injured all year, right? In some capacity, going back to, early in the season when his ankle got caught in a rut in Washington and turned the ankle sideways, and that just kind of started it. And he's missed a number of games since then. But this is something that's has been just kind of been trying to work his way through, and finally got to the decision where they kind of had to make the decision to have the surgery. And so 10 weeks is going to take us right up to playoff time. So
oh god, and we were wondering why it was him that wasn't playing, right? And why a guy like Declan Carlisle. What does that mean? You think they hold on to Carlisle then?
Well, we'll see, because you've got Destu and Lilleberg still coming back.
Yeah.
Right. So you had the 6 that played in that last game, plus you've got Destu and Lilleberg coming back. Right now you got 8. Now you still have 8. It's not 9. 9 meant you had to make a roster move. 8 means you could potentially, if you fear of losing Carlisle, then
I think they would.
Now you don't have to put on waivers. Yeah, I think they would too. I think
you would. They would, right?
Yeah, but the other thing of it though is that Declan Carlisle will be a Group 6 free agent this summer. He will not hit the number of games he needs to hit on the threshold to retain his rights as a restricted free agent. So he will be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. So even if you put him on waivers, you could potentially sign. Boy, I lost my train of thought again.
With Carlisle, you're talking about, or Crozier? Because Carlisle's that Group 6 free agent. I don't think he makes it through.
You could sign him to a contract, but why would Carlisle want to do that?
Yeah, no. Because if he's playing this well and he wouldn't pass through waivers, that means there's a demand for him out there. Yeah. So, again, if you're just joining us, Matt Crozier out 10 weeks, core muscle surgery, and we were wondering if Declan Carlisle was playing over him so that they could feature him, knowing that Carlisle has to pass through waivers before he gets sent down, where Max Crozier is not. And he's a guy that could just get sent right down. And what do we know as far as Destu and Lilleberg? Were they out there today?
Yeah, everybody was out there except for Nick Paul, who obviously got hurt in the Stadium Series game, missed the final 2. We'll see what his status is. It doesn't sound like Paul will practice tomorrow either. Right. They're off on Friday. They have a couple of practices over the weekend, and then what we assume will be mostly a full team practice on Tuesday, depending on who reaches the gold medal game on Sunday. Everybody else was out there except for Crozier and for Paul. So Lilleberg and Destu. Sorelli was the only guy in a no contact jersey. So we'll see what his status is. Again, talking to Rob Zettler, mentioned that Sorelli still has to take some contact before they can find out where he's at from what we assume is a shoulder injury that suffered again in the Stadium Series game.
Yeah, Stadium Series. So all these great things, but unfortunately, a couple of injuries for the boys. What are we anticipating when this team comes back as far as moves by Julian? It's tough. It's tough to look at this team and think that they have any glaring needs. You always want to have more depth. You always want to get fresh legs. But could some of the best decisions they have or the best acquisitions they make just guys getting off the IR there?
It can. There's no doubt. Especially with Point coming back, and we'll see where Nick Paul is. But I still look at this team and I'm not sold on whoever is their number 6 forward. Right. Dominic James has looked good, but he's still a rookie.
Right.
Gage Gonsalves has looked good, but he's not producing offense at the rate you need him to for the talent he has and for what he showed at the end of last year. Ideally you could get a guy who could play center and wing and could take some faceoffs, some key faceoffs at key times. Right. They've had some struggles with that here through a good portion of the season. So I guess the one thing, now you get Crozier out, but the one thing I don't think we have to talk about with this team is I don't think they have to look for defensive depth at the deadline, because I think they found out just through, natural course of the way the season has gone that they have defensive depth. Where that might have been a question mark going into the season, it's now certainly proven to be a strength of theirs. Heading into the stretch, because it will be, by the way, it is going to be a sprint to the end of the regular season, because you're going to come back. I think there's 27 games left, I think, for Tampa Bay. You've got 16 games in 28 days in March. You come out of the break, you got 3 games in 4 days. Like, it's going to be a sprint for Tampa Bay. And the trade deadline comes fast. I think it's March 6th. So it's a little over a week after games resume that the trade deadline is. And, so yeah, a lot to consider for Julian Breezeball, John Cooper, and staff.
Yeah, no doubt about it, my friends. What do we got up on lightninginsider.com now, buddy?
Well, I broke down the games and the groups heading into the only game I've gotten wrong so far is the Slovakia-Germany game. I thought Germany would put up a better fight against Slovakia. That obviously didn't happen. By the way, we didn't even mention this. I forgot this game was even going on. Switzerland is up 2-0 over Finland. Now. Yeah, that is in the second period. Yeah, so so that's up there. Kind of looking at the Lightning connections for all the teams that we're into. That it started with the games yesterday and led into today. So including my my gold medal pick. So that's up on the site.
You better pick U.S. like our guy Greg Wyshynski, or if not, you're not allowed back at the arena. Or maybe you pick Canada to be smart because you got to sit close to Coop. I don't know. It should be fun. I'm so curious. You got to read it. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not giving it away. I'm so curious with the narrative coming out of this game. Is it like, oh my gosh, like we almost lost, or is it no? They're battle tested, man. They're ready for anything. They're ready for the Americans. They've given their best shot. They had their best shot.
You're talking about the Canada game?
Yeah.
Survived a scare. That's what the headline will be. They survived a scare from Czechia.
Yeah.
So and Nick Suzuki, who missed a wide open net, hit a post earlier in the game. Yeah. Ends up having the big goal to tie it there late.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. A guy that is the captain of the Canadians and a guy that was ran out of town. But I guess he ran out of town, but he's making good money with Vegas. So I mean, it's kind of crazy how I wonder how Toronto fans will look at Mitch Marner now, right? If he's a part. Imagine if Mitch Marner scores the golden goal. What do they do? They cheer him the next time he comes to Toronto?
They're going to look at him. Why couldn't he do that with us? That'll be the narrative.
That's true. That's true. All right, last thing, Austin Matthews. I think he's the we haven't even talked about Team USA. How do you think they've played so far?
Not at their best.
Mm-hmm.
I think, the game against Denmark probably put a little wake-up call into them. Right. I thought that their best game was against Germany, even though, Quinn Hughes and Austin Matthews collided on the power play and almost gave away a shorthanded breakaway chance. So they've looked a little out of sync, a little discombobulated, I think, at times. A lot of pressure on this team for sure. This is the greatest, I think, generational talent that the U.S. has ever had and been able to put on the ice. And we talk about the guys that aren't here, right? The Jason Robertsons, the Cole Caulfields, the Alex DeBrinkets. I mean, there's a lot of really talented players that were not selected for this team. So I think they've looked a little out of sync, but, they're going to be tested today. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they could easily lose this game to Sweden today. Yeah. I think they're going to eventually go on to win it, but Sweden's a really good team.
Yeah, they are.
Right. So you've got a medal favorite who's going to be out in the quarters guaranteed now. Mm-hmm. Right. With this game this afternoon. So, I think Austin Matthews has been fine. That's certainly been a topic for a lot of people. I know that you were talking about it, yesterday, I think it was. Mm-hmm. I think he's been fine. Again, there's so much eyes and, a fishbowl on Austin Matthews and the way that he's expected to play and perform. And the fact that he was named captain when you've got the Kachuk brothers, who are the emotional leaders, there's no doubt about it, of this team. And you look at the way that Brady in particular has performed with his physicality and kind of stepping up in some of those areas. That line with Eichel and the Kachuk brothers has been very, very good. Mm-hmm. But I think like Canada, you're going to need some contributions from their depth, right? They had the opening game where, they kind of broke free in the second period against Latvia, and Tage Thompson got on the board, and Brock Nelson had a couple of goals, and, Jack Hughes is still playing fourth line minutes. We'll see where that goes in a game like this. And if he gets opportunities, U.S. is so deep. Jake Ottinger has been their number 3 guy.
Yeah,
Jake
exactly.
Ottinger has been there. He's not even seen the ice. I was surprised that Swayman got the start.
Yeah, me too.
Against Denmark, but I think that was probably based on his performance in the World Championships and helping, the U.S. get to the gold medal game and win the gold medal in the World Championships last year. So, but there's no doubt this is a very deep and talented team. But now you got to go out and prove it on the ice.
Yeah, different ball game now for sure. All right, double E, Erik Erlendsson, Erik_Erlendsson. That's a K, not a C, 2 S's after the day. LightningInsider.com. Use that promo code J&Z. Get $10 off, not just this year, but every recurring season after that. What's your favorite Simpson GIF of all time?
Wow. It's a lot to go through.
I know.
Probably the one of Lisa and Bart fighting on the ice.
Yeah. It's a good one.
It's probably the best one.
It's a classic.
By the way, did you see what didn't happen today?
No.
I didn't freeze up.
Oh, what happened?
I went and splurged $15 on a Wi-Fi extender.
Wow.
So it appears as if it worked today.
Ladies and gentlemen, and we had Rick Stroud we had Rick Stroud earlier on he was getting his car serviced at a mechanic or whatever, a car lot or whatever, in his service. He dropped like 2 or 3 times. So in the back of my head, I'm like, this is going to be a great day. And it's funny because he dropped right as he was giving love to Ed. He was like, yeah, I want to show love to Ed and Cena. And then boom, he dropped off. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. And then Callahan is in Ocala at a freaking farm while his kids are horseback riding. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. No drops whatsoever. And you were as clean as a whistle today, my friend.
Yeah, hopefully that'll stay. It was worth a $15 investment.
It was, man. You are clear as a bell, man. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. We'll talk next week.
Okay, see you.
All right, buddy. The great Erik Erlendsson, lightninginsider.com. Man, lightninginsider.com. Go check it out. Today, use that promo code JNZ. All right, guys, this is going to wrap it up for me. I got to head over to Ian's place, 4817 Southwest Shore Boulevard, Dignitary Cafe. We got the Beckles and Recher podcast coming up in about an hour. A big thank you to Chan and Rowley and my buddy JG, 813 Preps. You guys are the best. And of course, don't forget Honest Hammer Custom Builders LLC for all your residential and commercial needs. Evra Health as well. The Evra Health injury report coming up tomorrow at 12:30 with our pal, Dr. Carlos Rodriguez. Ed and Cena is going to join us at 1:30 as well. Cannot wait for that. This has been a really fun show. It's been really fun being back with you guys here in the saddle once again. We don't know if there's a USA Olympic hockey watch party. I actually have practice today, so it's going to be interesting. We're going to do the show, and I'll probably cut it off at right at 3:10 so we can watch the game. I'll watch probably a period or two, and then I got to head to baseball. I got practice at 5:30 today. I love you all. Appreciate it. Steve Garner, our Carolina correspondent. Appreciate you not burning your house down because you were nuking your lunch. I love you all. Again, Mark Tompkins should be on Friday. Ed and Carlos Rodriguez, Dr. Carlos Rodriguez tomorrow. And we'll see. We have more irons in the fire as well. Love you all. Go USA. We'll see you tomorrow at noon right here.